Licensing and Regulatory Affairs Bureau of Healthcare Services. A doctor would still have to meet with the patient and discuss the pros and cons of the medical marijuana, but the time that it takes would be much shorter. With our patients, quality time with reduced symptoms is the most important thing. You can give them more of that time by adding this amendment. Hospice recognizes providing a peaceful and comfortable death is an essential goal of health care. Death is not a failure, but rather living and dying with dignity in our own terms is an ultimate success. With one legislative change, thousands more of our friends, neighbors, and families could benefit this. I urge you to consider adding this amendment and then reporting it to the House for its full consideration. I know that it took a little bit of time with that, but one thing that I do want to mention is that a lot of the people that I've heard talk today are concerned about patient safety. I also heard concern that they want Michigan to be proud of what they pass. And I want all of you to take a look at the report card that Michigan has compared to the other states. Compared to the other states, Michigan has the fewest patient safety amendments or regulations. It does not address many of the concerns that Washington, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Colorado have done. My goal as a nurse is to protect the safety of the patients, to make sure that they know what they're taking is safe, that it's labeled with proper ingredients. As a healthcare professional, we are obligated by law that we cannot give a medication if we cannot have the name of it, the milligram or the dose of it, and whatever it comes in, milliequivalents, milligrams, or several different forms. There are specific rules, and those rules can't be followed. We can't even consider this a medication. Even calcium has to be
Ms. Graham,
written.
I just have to ask you to conclude.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. And finally, we have Jim Powers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would please introduce.
My name is Jim Powers, and this is my wife Ryan, or my wife Erin, and my son Ryan. Sorry, Ryan has a rare autoimmune disease called minimal change nephrotic syndrome. Causes him to swell up. His kidneys begin exhibiting extreme dysfunction. This is a picture of Ryan prior to us being able to achieve long-term remission. Ryan was on several pharmaceutical medications, including chemotherapy, and did not respond. It was after this that we, out of desperation, turned to cannabis oil to try and treat his life-threatening condition. Fortunately, he went into remission, but approximately a month later, the Carruthers decision was handed down by the Court of Appeals, and which basically made his medicine illegal. So now, us, along with many of the families here in Michigan that have turned to cannabis to treat their children, are faced with the decision of A, breaking the law, or B, taking their child off the only medication that has ever worked. And it is for that reason that we urge you to support 5104 as it was written. In addition, the McQueen case, as several have already mentioned, took away safe access. And in the state of Michigan, the only person that can be a caregiver to a minor patient is their parent or legal guardian. And what that means for our patients is the only legal place for them to get their medication, these minor patients, is by having their parents grow it. We don't believe anyone should be forced to grow their own medication, although we certainly feel that should be an option. And it is that for that reason we urge you to support 4271. I thank you for your time.
Okay, and thank you.
Can I just say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was running in and out, and I didn't realize. I thought we were just supposed to introduce ourselves. So I just wanted to just give you a little background on our situation. It'll only take a few minutes. Again, my name is Rebecca Brown. I am the founder and the administrator for the Pediatric Cannabis Therapy Group. We started on Facebook with 6 parents in 2002, the beginning of 2002, and one of those parents was Paige Fickey from the CNN documentary. There were six of us mothers who had come to the end of our medical rope with our children who were suffering, and all had very, very severe medical conditions. All of us, actually our children all had seizure disorders, and we had collectively tried just about every medication available. Cooper alone had been on a combination of 27 different medications, all which had failed. He had done a diet, and now he has a medical device implanted in him, and none of those alone worked. We've suffered from side effects. I wanted to show you what a dime looks like. At 3, he had a kidney stone this size. At 7, he suffered a second bout of pancreatitis so severe that he spent 5 days in the hospital with no food or drink other than an IV. We got into a couple years where things settled down, but as he entered puberty at about 13, things got terrible. He went from seizing a few times here and there, whatever, to seizing every day. It got so bad, I had to remove him from school. He couldn't walk into the school building without having a seizure. And we were at the end of our rope. We were prisoners of our home. We lived from seizure to seizure. It changed the dynamic and landscape of our family. We couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't do anything, and I was in complete and utter despair. At that time, I heard of a story of a person in California whose son also had Dravet syndrome, what Cooper has, and his doctor had recommended trying medical cannabis. I watched the story on TV, and let me tell you, I sobbed through the entire episode. That day, I called that person. I was able to track him down. I'm kind of known as the pit bull. I don't give up easily. And I talked to him at length, and I decided that day, this is something I've got to try. I have no alternative. My son is at the end of his medical rope. And when I say end of his medical rope, we've lost 11 children. We lost one Tuesday to this disease. And we have another one who's currently seizing, and they can't stop the seizure. These kids start to seize. The one little girl that died Tuesday seized for 25 hours straight, and they could not stop it. Okay, so this is a deadly disease. It's a genetic mutation. He will never outgrow it. He will always need medication. So we were left with no options, as far as I felt. So I went to my regular pediatric neurologist. I convinced him, even though he wasn't really on board, he said, okay, you've done everything. I'll give it a chance. He signed my card, or Cooper's card. Then I went to our pediatrician. He signed. Well, to make a long story short, Cooper got on the medicine, and he's doing fantastic. Well, with that being said, I was concerned as well about safety and dosing because there were no guidelines, and that's why the group of 6 original mothers was important, and we learned from each other. And so that's why I started the Pediatric Cannabis Therapy Group, because I can tell you right now in our Facebook group, we are closing in on 3,000 members. Parents are desperate for relief and desperate for compassion from their legislators. We need access to this medicine, and it is medicine, and we treat it that way. We mentor new parents, and I can tell you what, if you change the law, if 5104 passes, you will have a green rush. I got a phone call from Paige Figge the other day. She wants to send 50 families to Michigan. I get calls at least twice a week. People are desperate. Children are dying. It's not a joke. This is serious. I am asking you. I watched my son on July 15th, 1998, as a 5-month-old infant, gasp, convulse, turn blue, and seize for 40 minutes, and there was nothing I could do. I am asking you, don't let parents live like that, please. This is so important. We need support on this bill. And I can tell you, we mentor parents. We teach them how to do it the right way. We explain the importance of lab testing. Our lab, we test everything. I am a parent. Why would I give my child something with mold? We test everything. Our lab helps us with dosing. They can tell us exactly what the components are and how to dose. We know the weight. We know how to dose. And so that is our battle cry is no child left behind. Don't leave these children behind. They need your help. We need your compassion, and we need this bill. Thank you.
Okay. I want to thank you all for taking the time not only to travel to be here, but for sharing your stories and experiences. Those are very helpful, and we do appreciate it very much. We do have to wrap up for today. We will not be voting on the bills today. As we stand, as of right now, it is my intention to reconvene the committee at the same time, 8:15 on Tuesday, this next Tuesday, the 10th. That is just contingent on confirming some scheduling and that the room is available. If this room is not, we may find another room to do. Okay, this just in. We are moving to room 327 in this building on Tuesday at 8:15 to continue the testimony and deliberation on these bills. With that, I thank you all, and the committee will stand adjourned.